Stage here, the jingly jangly Lucy.
While I'm talking to you about my statement, I need you to eat the sour gummy worms that are being passed around right now. They're an integral part of the work. Can of worms is my metaphor for artistic practice. Usually when a person opens a can of worms, what they get is a whole lot of trouble. What the artist sees instead is something quite different. Open them, let them run away. Look at them go! They slither everywhere. It's great, it's fantastic. Instead of putting the lid back on, it's a bit late to do that now anyway, the artist tosses the can aside to play with the worms, to dress them up, or put them on dresses, to show the worms to friends, as I'm doing now, to give the worms names, to try to teach them to dance, and perhaps try to become a worm, in the H.P. Lovecraft sense, of course. Instead of putting them back in the can, the artist knows that worms need room to twine, tangle and make more worms. So the artist sets about sorting the worms for her big idea. Big ones, fat ones, skinny ones, juicy ones. The worms won't cooperate. A bunch of them slither all over the bench top, down the sides and squirm along the floor, looking for some cool damp to burrow in. Randy worms start copulating in huge squishy balls. Worms are hermaphrodites, that's twice the fun. Some feel hungry, so they slide over to the old coffee cup in the corner and slurp at the grounds in the cup. One of them gets literate and hides inside a massive book on sculpture. It's a bookworm. That's okay, paper's organic. Another gets into the speakers of the stereo. It's an earworm, that catchy pop tune that just won't go away. A couple of worms crawl through the vents in the computer and start replicating inside it. It's a matter of time before that viral worm crashes the hard drive. The artist has to work with what she's got. A bunch of worms, a pile of castings, an empty can. She opens the door. The escaping worms first recoil at the light and then slink into the undergrowth, where they'll break down old dead shit to enrich the soil for new life. A kookaburra, the early bird, picks off a few of the slower worms as they crawl away. Most life on Earth lies beneath our feet, waiting to pop up when we least expect it. Just like an artist's ideas. She'll dig for those worms another day, or charm them out of the ground when she needs them by stomping a rhythm on the earth in gumbooted feet near their burrows. With a stick of charcoal, she starts sketching the copulating worms. Look at the shapes they make when they twine around each other. Look at the way their segments ripple. Look at the smoothness of their skins. A curious worm crawls over the page, trailing tracks like little quivers through the charcoal. She pulls out some flexible wire and starts patterning it to mimic the shapes made by the worms. That way looks pretty good, but what if she bends the spools this way, that way, upside down, inside out? Now that's interesting. Stick it to the wall and see how it goes. See those shadows where the lights play through the shapes in the loops. Get the camera and take a photo while the light holds. As for the empty can, it's impossible to put those worms back in it now that they've been allowed to stretch and flex to their full extent. So the artist recycles it into something much more interesting, a vase, a sculpture, a piece of jewellery. Let the worms crawl free!